Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Nail, and welcome to Simply Nail's Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and thank you so much for being a really cool subscriber here in the Tiny Studio. I really appreciate it. First of all, this is a Dreadlock Love video. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about all things dreadlock care, maintenance, and love. Now, if this is your first time coming to or joining us in the Tiny Studio, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to Simply Nails Tiny Studio, where you will get updates, notifications, and you will have access to the community page where I post various things and happenings going on here in the Tiny Studio. So while you do that, I'll wait. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you are already a subscriber to the goings ons here in the Tiny Studio, thank you so much. And don't forget, giving this video a thumbs up is what's going to help the algorithm of the YouTube guides smile fondly upon me. So as I said before, this is a Dreadlock Love video. And I am celebrating, well, I'm going into my 21st year as a dreadlock diva, Lockdista Queen. And so I've learned a lot about this journey that we love and that we call by the name of dreadlocks, or just simply locks, or just dreads. And I've learned a lot on this journey, and I've made some mistakes, and I have been successful in many areas after making some really horrible mistakes. And one of those mistakes is the fact that I had expectations of what my dreads should look like. And when I did not meet those expectations, which were based on my perception of everyone else's journey, when I did not meet those expectations, I began to get frustrated and irritated, and then I thought about doing the unthinkable, which is cutting my locks. So one of the questions that I get from a lot of curious or people who are thinking about the joining us on this journey of becoming a dreadlock king, diva, Locknista king, queen. A lot of questions that I get from people who would like to grow locks or people who are just starting their journey is, what do you do when your hair or your locks is not growing the way you anticipated them to grow? What Is there some type of magic serum? Is there some type of peel? Is it in the water? What can I do to get my locks to grow? To get my locks to look like Bob Marley, okay? Or Lenny Kravitz, or Simply Nail. What can I do? And this video is also for those who are experiencing a little bit of, turbulence on this dreadlock journey because of expectations. This video is for you. Now, when I first started out, I didn't have any dreadlock guru or anyone who, there was no YouTube. There was no Google. There was an Ask Jeeves. And I would, troll ask Jeeves looking for advice on how to get my dreadlocks to grow. I started my locks from a teeny tiny fro, and I thought that within a year I was going to have at least some Whoopi Goldberg dreads. Okay? I thought that my hair was going to just, you know, grow right on out into these beautiful, beautiful long robes. And when that didn't happen, I became frustrated and I became a little irritated because I had this idea of what dreadlocks is supposed to look like. But when I looked in the mirror, I did not see that. And what I learned after I overcame the compulsion to just cut my locks off and start over, what I learned is that everyone's hair grade and type is different. My hair grade and type is different from, let's say, a Whoopi Goldberg or a Phyllis Yvonne Wheatley or a Lenny Kravitz or a Lisa Bonet. My hair is different from their hair grade. So my journey is going to be a little bit more nuanced or unique to me. It also, when it comes to hair growth, it has a lot to do with your diet, how much literal vitamin D that you intake from the sun, and it also depends a lot on, when I say diet, it depends on what you're feeding yourself. Are you feeding yourself beautiful, beautiful, tasty fruits and vegetables and staying away from a lot of meats and a lot of sugars and a lot of things that are chemically processed? Are you staying away from those things, or does your diet mainly consist of chemically processed foods, um, lots of sugar, or high fructose corn syrup? Because, see, a lot of those things are detrimental and dangerous to our bodies in the first place. So if we are expecting our hair to grow luscious and long and strong and healthy, it would go without saying that we have to be feeding our body the nutrients that it's going to take to grow long and luxurious and healthy and strong dreads. For me also, I had to learn that drinking water is very, very helpful. Drinking water, not just drinking water, but sometimes being immersed in water, baptizing yourself in water. What does that mean? A nice rainfall shower on your scalp feels so good, feels so wonderful. And all of that water falling on top of your head, on your hair, it just does wonders for it. So while you're drinking it and enjoying water, also let your locks enjoy beautiful, tasty water right onto its roots. Why not? When you have beautiful house plants, we not only water them, water the soil, but we also mist them with water. And what happens? Your plants soak up that water, not just in the roots, but when you mist them, the leaves soak in that water. So try that as well when you are, in the process of caring for and maintaining your locks. Now, I know there are people who will say, "Oh, don't do that. Do not put water. Do not use water on your hair. Do not mist your hair with water." But I say, do it. Do it. I mean, are we not approximately 70% of water is, you know, isn't our bodies primarily made of water? So why not give your locks a little drink every now and again? There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're infusing your water with some delicious essential oils such as lavender, a little peppermint, a little eucalyptus, a little frankincense, a little vitamin E, perhaps a little bit of castor oil, almond oil, walnut oil, olive oil, hemp oil. Infuse your water with those precious oils and fragrant oils or just leafy oils, doing vegetable oils, doing all of that, putting that in your water and just misting it on your locks is going to help stimulate growth. But one of the key things you have to remember is that you cannot because we all have different grades of hair, your expectations cannot be, or you can't hold yourself to the expectation of believing that in 6 months or so, your locks are going to look like Lenny Kravitz's locks, or that your locks is going to look like Lisa Bonet's locks. No, no. Because, as I said before, we all have different hair grades. So, of course, my locks is going to look different than your locks because of the way my locks grow. And that's why it is very important that you get to know your own hair. You get to understand how your hair grows, what your hair pattern really is in its natural form. And when you understand how your hair grows, when you understand your hair pattern, then that will give you a more better indication of how long it's going to take your hair to grow. Because it's not going to happen overnight. Also, there are different things happening in the world around you, environmental things that contribute to your hair growth or lack of. I know I lived in the city of Detroit for about, I want to say 2 years during my lock journey. Okay, 2 years of my lock journey was spent in the city of Detroit, my hometown. So I started with a teeny tiny fro, and then when I left Detroit, my locks were probably maybe about this long. And what's that? Maybe about 2 inches, 3 inches. I say this is probably a good 4 inches long. I moved to sunny Florida, right? Where my entire lifestyle changed. I was outside more. I was walking around. I was enjoying myself and enjoying the atmosphere and the environment. And I kid you not, within 6 months, my hair had grown past my ear. The very next year, my hair was down to my shoulders. Because I had changed the environment and I wasn't living in an area where there was a lot of pollution. Now, I'm not trying to say Florida doesn't have pollution because it does, but I lived in the city of Detroit near some factories. Okay, so there were a lot of environmental things that was in the air that more than likely affected my hair growth. See, all of these things have together is what creates a system of how your hair reacts and how it grows on this dreadlock journey. And you have to be really aware of that. So after I had been in Florida for about a year, I want to say maybe about 2 years, my hair had grown 3 times its length. 3 times its length. By the third year, my hair was down to my butt. Truly, truly. And for me, that's why I attribute it to my phenomenal hair growth. I attribute it to the fact that I changed locations. I went from Detroit, Michigan, from a cold weather state to a warmer weather state, where a tropical state where I was out in the sun getting that good vitamin D, that fresh air, and of course, drinking water and, indulging in fresh fruits and vegetables. So, if you're not a person who's living in a warmer or tropical climate, there are still things that you can do as well. And if you're not able to really get out in the sun during those cold winter months, then that would be the time that you take some vitamin D as a supplement. Um, just making sure that you're keeping healthy and doing things that promote hair growth, which is um, not using certain products that do not promote hair growth. What they do is, for our hair or for locks, what it does is it kind of, stops and stalls it, because a lot of these shampoos and conditioners, when you're on the dreadlock journey, you don't need it. You really don't need it. All you need is some um, Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap, and I say this a lot. Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap, and Dr. Bronner's has peppermint soap, eucalyptus soap. Let me see, lavender, and I'm trying to think. It's another essential oil scent as well. You can look it up. But when you stick to being natural and using products that are natural on your scalp, then you will see the growth that you're looking for. Keeping your hair tied up or wrapped up when you are out in the elements sometimes, that is wonderful. That's a practice that you should really implement into your dreadlock journey. Keeping your hair misted with essential oils and vitamins, that's a wonderful thing. There are things that you can do to promote growth, but it will be at the pace of the type of hair, your hair grade, texture, pattern, and it will be at the rate of how you ingest healthy foods in your diet, along with lots and lots of water. Those are the things that you need to be able to grow some beautiful, 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 healthy locks. But most importantly, know that you are unique, and that it's great to admire other people's locks. It's wonderful. It's something to aspire to and be inspired by. But your hair pattern is unique and it's beautiful. And no matter what, love it. Fall in love with your hair. On top of that, don't be so quick to give up. Don't give up. Fight that urge to get those scissors out. Love on your hair. no matter what it is, how it looks. Love on it, because eventually, if you take my advice, your hair and your locks are going to do what it does, and they are going to be just as beautiful as mine. But you have to put in the work. You have to give yourself love, put in the time, and be patient. And while you're on this journey, get to know and love your hair in its natural state. So that's my advice. You feel like picking up the scissors? Put those scissors down. You don't need to do that. Just follow what I just said, and everything is going to be all right. Thank you so much for joining me today in the tiny studio. As you know, I'm your girl Nell. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about your dreadlock journey that you would like me to advise you on, drop down in the comments section and let's get the discussion going. I will see you next time on Dreadlock Love here in Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. And don't forget, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time here in the tiny studio. Bye-bye.